Lisa Mitchell, a communications and body language expert and host of 7 Questions with Interesting People. You found my channel. Lucky you. Today is going to be probably the best day you're ever going to have. So go buy a lottery ticket or do something good to treat yourself. Because I promise interesting people on this show. And today, man, I'm going to deliver. You can go ahead and thank me in advance. But first, I want you to like this, subscribe to the channel, and get ready to share it out with some friends because everybody is going to want to know what is happening here. Today, I have the one and only Erica Ballard with me. Interesting is an understatement for Erica. And here's the real candid truth about not only why I think she's interesting, but why I love her so dearly as a human and a friend and a coach, is that Erica knows where all my bodies are buried. And by bodies, I mean all of my head trash, all of my worthiness problems, all of my why do I think good things have to be difficult to count, like all of it. And she still shows up and loves me anyways. And so for me, how do you get more interesting than loving people, flaws and all, right? So I want to gift you all with just the presence of being with Erica for a couple of minutes and hearing more of her story. And with that, Erica, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm like crying and laughing at the same time because what a lovely introduction. Thank you for letting me be here with you today.
Yeah, you really are. Your mission is noble and difficult. And I think anyone who chooses to step into the challenge of helping people treat themselves well, because we're so just for whatever reason resistant to feeling worthy and to doing that for ourselves, that's just an immense challenge. And so I would love for you to share just a little bit more about what you do and how you keep doing it, even in the face of working with people like me.
You're why I do it, because I was you. So for me, what I call myself as a healthy living expert, and I help people just eat food and love themselves through it, because that for me is what I think most people want when they actually talk about being healthy. Just want to eat food and live their lives. And so I help them do that by not only teaching them the best things for their body, not by plan, but like by their body. And then also helping them get through the head trash, because most of the reasons that we are not healthy has nothing to do with macro counting or calories or any of that. It's all the stuff in between our ears that is holding us back from living our best lives. And I think the reason I keep going is because there's 2 parts of it. One, food is just a manifestation of the other areas in your life that you're struggling with, right? So it's really something that when you learn how to handle your food and your health, you are able to take that data and apply it to so many other places. And the other reason why is because I found out this huge secret that I was worthy the moment I was born. Like I was enough and fine and everything good. And when I realized that, I'm like, oh, that means everyone is. And so I really want to help people get back to that place of enoughness. And I believe that food is frequency and that we all are here for a purpose, big or small. Yours is big, even if like it's deemed small. And food clears your channel, gets you ready, gets you set to be able to hear that call and move forward.
Yeah, it honestly, like your approach, your truth is like so revolutionary. Like so revolutionary. And I'm so excited. Like we'll get people to you when we wrap up today, but anyone who is blessed by watching this, and I say that with all sincerity, like get Erica in your life. Like consume her through some channel, whether it's Instagram or YouTube or television or directly with coaching with her. It'll change your life. That's all I'm going to say. And it's in a good way, and it'll be difficult and it'll be amazing, and you'll be so much better off for it. So that's my endorsement. And I'm a client. I've done the program. I have fought with you and argued with myself and relapsed and got back on track and all the things that are just part of the process of accepting worthiness. So thank you for being a partner and a guide and my Sherpa and all of those things. through that
Happy to
journey with me. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get into our questions because people need to know this about you because you have such a unique approach to so many of these. How do you build your confidence? Like you walk into some pretty interesting places and spaces. How do you build your confidence, or how have you built your confidence to prepare yourself?
That is a fantastic first question. No, well, it really makes me think. The unique thing is I've been really thinking about this because I'm moving to Denver and my confidence is getting rocked. And that is making me reflect on how the heck do I show up the way that I want to. And I guess it's really one big thing. There's two big things. One, I have to remember all of my past wins, or like the truth of what was, right?
Positive evidence.
Yes. So when I moving, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be a nobody in Denver and I'm not going to have any friends and everything's going to be terrible. And I'm going to shrink into this hole in the ground and no one's going to find, I'm like freaking out. And I'm like, you moved to Washington, D.C., got your dream job, like literally showed up, got a job in 3 days, a house in 7, friends. You moved to Boston, you got into Tux Medical, like you found your husband, you did all right on that move. Indianapolis, you like found yourself, you like kind of made a name for yourself in the city, you get on so you just kind of been building that, kid. Like, so you could take all this momentum and move to Denver. So the positive evidence is a big piece. And then the other piece is to remember that like I'm part of something greater. So for me, I just keep walking in faith every day. And I'm like, okay, universe, God, spirit, source, whatever, got a plan. I'm part of that plan. And I wouldn't be thrown into the unknown if I wasn't supposed to be exactly where I am. And I don't remember that every day, all day, but I remember it multiple times throughout the day so that I just keep going forward.
I love that. So you're anchored in truth. And even when you try to fly away, you can like pull the string and bring yourself back and settle in truth. I love that. I think it's so important to have that home base, like to have that belief or that support where like, even when you fly away for a minute, you're like, okay, no, this is real. This is true. This is like actual in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, I know that confidence and success are two very different yet complementary kind of states of thought. How has your definition of success changed? Like if you were to look at snapshot 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago today, like what are some of the success benchmarks? What's been proven true or false for you in regards to success?
So success for me was always money and title. That's it. Like I make X amount of money or I get this title and I move up in this ladder and that's success. And I will by default have the house to prove it, the car to prove it, the outfits to prove it, the friends, the receipts from restaurants to prove it, whatever. Whoo, that is a terrible, terrible definition of success. And it sets you up for so much pain. And that's what it caused me until I started to realize, the corny phrase, health is wealth. It's true. It's very true. So it's changed for thinking health matters quite a lot for wealth. The love that you have in your life matters a lot for health or wealth or success. I really look at it as family, friends, freedom. And then there is the financials there too, but like not in the way the first 3 are. That to me, if I'm surrounded by people I love on a regular basis, I'm very lucky because not a lot of people get to do that. And if I have freedom to go wherever I want, do whatever I want, move my body however I want to, that to me is the ultimate amount of success. And so for me, that's what I'm actively working towards every single day. I finally realized, thanks to multiple coaches and work and all the things that I really did think money brought freedom, but I don't need I would love $60 million, but I don't need $60 million, $100 million to get that freedom. I can get it right now, and I can build towards whatever financial wealth I want. And I think that that has been so important for me because it has allowed me to become more creative, to trust myself more, to make mistakes and know that it's okay. When I realized that like finances, they matter, but not to the extent that we as a culture and society have deemed it to matter.
Yeah, I love it. Money is not king. That's I think that's one of the lies we buy into. And that brings me to my next question of, what do you think from your perspective is like the biggest scam or the biggest lie that we're being told right now?
Oh, you know what it is. Freaking calorie in, calorie out. Move more, eat less. Oh my God. Biggest freaking scam on the planet.
I knew it was coming.
It is the biggest amount of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. And I say that having spent an entire life up until the past like 3 or 4 years, 5-ish years, buying into it, believing that if I just outran that burger, if I just worked out nonstop, if I just starved myself, not only would I look good, I'd be happy, right? Like, but that is not, it's like your body is not a math equation. Your body is not a math equation. That's why you learn about it in science, right? In biology, and like a course based on theory, because we don't actually know all the mechanisms that go on in here. And we are starting to learn the mechanisms on which we actually end up burning fat. And that's through secret, eating a diet that promotes fat burning in your system. And that's not necessarily based on calories. In fact, most people need to eat between 2,000 and 2,300. So 2,300, man, that's hard to say, right? 2,000 to 2,300 calories a day to actively burn fat. Otherwise, when you get to the 1,500 or the 12,000 or the 1,200, you're actually going to hold on to fat. That's why everybody stalls out. And I wish women knew that. Like, we would save ourselves so much pain. We would
Oh my gosh.
and
yeah.
We would get results. And you know this, like, you can drop weight, you can get healthy and not starve yourself.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Man, it makes me so mad because it is such a way to make women focus on something like that, so they don't put their brain and talents elsewhere. When you're obsessed about food, which is I was spinning from the moment I wake up. What am I going to eat? When am I going to get to the gym? Like, do I fit in this? What do I look like? What do I look like? Are they thinking about what I look like? When you spend half of your brain power on that, you can't do the other things. But we have made women believe that this is how you do it, and it makes me so mad. So that, I think, is the biggest lie out there. And if people knew that if they could just eat real food and drop weight and get healthy, I think
there's a lot of people that lose a lot of money if we start caring and loving for ourselves, right?
And
I know.
Like, it's a $7 billion industry. It's either like 7 billion or 70 billion. It's ridiculous. It's probably 70. And it's like, no, it is. It's like $70 billion industry for an industry where people fail at their diets 93% of the time. At some point, the methodology is wrong. You're not wrong. And it's like, from a financial standpoint, I'm convinced, because I live in, like I told you, I live in like the world of abundance and all that we can make money if people love themselves. Like, there is a way to make money in which people love themselves. And it infuriates me. And I just wish people knew that you're supposed to feel good in the process of getting healthy, because the purpose of getting healthy is to feel good. So to get your end result, you have to start feeling that feeling throughout. Like, it's totally lost on people.
Well, and this is a sidebar, but like, I get suspicious if I feel too good, right? I'm like, oh, what's going to go wrong? Or like, the whole wellness isn't for me story, right? Like, how many people had the same story based on family legacy or whatever? We're like, oh, well, we're not well people, or we're not healthy. We don't have healthy lifestyles, or we don't, like, what? junk, right? Like I love your passion around dispelling that just absolute like false myth, right? Like it's a marketing tool that stuck too long, right? Like anyways, this could be our whole conversation, and it will be someday, but for now, I want to take you from one end to the other, and I want to find out, because you do so many interesting ways, you do so many interesting things to find ways to tap into yourself, and you are truly, despite lots of dark and heavy things that you have overcome, you are one of the most joyful people that I know. Like, even when it's hard, there's gratitude and there's joyfulness. And I'm just curious, like, what is one thing that comes to mind? Like, if you close your eyes and you channel joy, like, what brings you joy? Like, what has brought you joy recently? Or something just memorable that you really found yourself joyful about?
So the latest one, I'm going to put one thing in here, is when it comes to joy, I think it's a really important piece. It's one I've identified it as one of my values, and that's why I think I'm able to live it out. Like, it is, it's really important to me, and I make sure that I find it. And so with that, the most joyful thing that I have done recently is I opened that damn dog park, Lisa. Like, and well, it was, quick side note, I opened Indianapolis's first ever downtown dog park, and the amount of joy I get from watching the amount of joy dogs and other people get for it. Like, I was saying this to someone yesterday. I literally walked away from the dog park. I went to leave the dog park and I just stood and I stared in it for, like, I swear, 5 minutes, and just watched everyone playing with their dogs, all the dogs playing together, because it was a 3.5-year journey to get that thing opened. But just sitting there and watching and celebrating, not just like the work that I did, which I think is actually a really joyful thing, but to see and watch and witness the joy of others because of some of the work that I did was like, I cry thinking about it. I'm like, it was the best, because also I love dogs. So like, they're like just like running around and licking their humans and like humping each other and like doing all those things. And I was just like, this is the best. And I want to sit here and like stick in this moment versus running from it. Like, oh, that was cool. Right. I'm like, no, I'm going to like absorb every friggin' moment that I want to of this moment.
Yeah. And congratulations on that, by the way. Like, that is a legacy. That's a legacy making thing that you were able to achieve, and nothing is easy here. Like, to get anything positive and community focused done, like, you and I have tried to do enough things in this city, in this space with these people, that it can be like anything good and joyful is difficult. Like, you gotta just go hard, right? Because it's gonna be a minute. So I love that you got that win, and that it was a heart led, sincere, like, venture that resulted in that joyful moment. And I'm glad that you took the time. Like, this idea, the more I talk to interesting people, the more I'm starting to realize how important the pause is. Because in every conversation, especially around joy, there seems to be this like reoccurring theme of the pause, right? Like, you cannot enjoy what you do not take time to acknowledge. And so like, that's what I've been needing to hear, that's been coming out in these conversations. So thank you for reinforcing that. This might be redundant, but I feel like you'll have another spin on it. But what is one thing that you believe, if everyone did it, would make the biggest positive impact in our lives, in kind of the collective consciousness right now?
I talked about this. I'm so glad you're asking this question, because I have somehow had this conversation already this week. And it's, if we stopped identifying people as, what I mean by that is, we right now like see someone and decide who they are, right? We look at somebody's title, name, who we think they're going to vote for, all of these things, and we say, you're this kind of person. Yep. And we've already made a decision. And it's like, I think about why we get so mad about each other. And I don't know if I'm going to articulate this well, but Glennon Doyle does this nice thing where it's like we have all these like different buckets we have to pour people into. Like, this is your glass, this is your glass, this is your glass. And what we've done is we've added more glasses. And I'm saying, why don't we just get rid of the glasses and meet people human to human and just say, like, I'm curious about you. And I love you because you're human. And that, to me, ripping off the label and stop. And if we could just stop deciding that we have to know their identity before we talk to them,
can accept them, or find them as valid.
Because the reason I think this is so important for what it's worth, as it goes back to that self-worth enoughness, is every judgment we have on someone else is a judgment we have on ourselves. So if we could let go of the judgments on others, which feels a lot easier for us to do, right? It would make it a lot easier for us to then drop the judgments on ourselves, because they would just have to go. So I think that would, it could change the world. I really do.
It would change the world. I knew you were going to have just the best nugget right there. I knew it. I was so excited for that. You never disappoint. Okay. Let's think of this idea. And I know it's a concept that you've coached me through, you coach a lot of people through. I'm curious to know, what is one way that you have personally evolved? Like, when you look at Erica past and you look at Erica today, what is one element, and I know there's many, but what is one element of evolution that you can identify?
I think it goes back to what I just said, is I don't do this all the time because I'm human, but I really do try my best to meet people first with love. So, and by default, and maybe this is actually more so what it is that I have learned how to love myself. I can meet me with love everywhere. And I have, girl, Erica 10 years ago, like, she hated herself. She hated everybody else. She hated, like, it was everybody else, So I think that shift to meet everyone, including myself, with love as often as possible has been such a game changer for me, because that, like, when you say those kind of words about me being a joyful person, I mean, that it's how I got there. Like, if you can't find joy in here and in others, which are the most important things to us, right? Then how do you find joy everywhere else? Because the external will never be enough anyways. So that movement into self-love and the love of others, and recognizing that, like, I am them and they are me, has really allowed me to show up in a way where I'm a lot prouder of who I am. You know what I mean? Like, when I talk to someone, because I don't have as much, I just don't hold the judgment I've held in the past.
That's beautiful. Hooray. Hooray for evolution and for loving yourself more. I love it. Okay. And the last question, I'm always so interested, because I always have so many, I'm like, I love words and I fight over words, and words are really important. We share that kind of champion for words. If someone were to meet you just briefly, like a 60-second exchange of just no consequence, right? What 3 words would you hope that person would use to describe you after you left their presence?
I would hope they would say, I was kind, I was curious, and truth be told, I would really like if they said I was fun.
Yeah, you'd nail it. Beyond a doubt. Kind, curious, and fun. I have 50 words I could use to describe you, all of which would be true. And I don't throw words around hastily. I'm very, very thoughtful with the words that I use, especially when they are related to a human, right? For better or worse, I am thoughtful about my words when it comes to describing people. But um, you're not only interesting, you are kind and you are curious and you are hella fun. And I am much better in so many ways for having your presence and your guidance and your wisdom and your opinions and just all of your love, being available to me. And I don't take that lightly. So I really appreciate you. And you are so interesting. Like, there's so much more. Honestly, this could be an hour, but it won't be because I know we have other things to do. But I don't want people to miss the opportunity to know you better, Erica. So what is the best way for somebody to hear more of your story, connect with you, to stop BSing themselves and get ready to start loving themselves and do it in a way that has support and wisdom and a champion by their side? How do we do that?
The best way is through Instagram. It's where I hang out the most. So at Erica Ballard Health, I would say go there if you want to get to know me a bit more and see and learn and meet my dog and all of that stuff. I also, if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, ericaballardhealth.com, very SEO friendly. Check it out. And would love to work with you if you want to work on your food mindset and just overall well-being. And I'll make a plug too for my podcast, The Lies We've Been Fed, which really digs into a lot of lies that we have been fed in particularly the food space. And I think it's a really fun way to learn the history of why we believe what we believe and what is actually true.
Yeah, I love it. I wasn't lying when I said Erica is one of the most interesting people I know. And again, there's lots of other words for her, but I will link up all of those places where you can connect with her in the comments below this video. Again, this was good stuff. I know you got something out of it. I have the privilege of knowing Erica and talking to her all the time, and I have had revelations just by hearing her answers to these 7 questions. So do yourself a favor, like the episode, subscribe to the channel, share it out with 3 people who need to hear this. I could share it out with 20 and it still wouldn't be enough. And go find Erica, connect with her for more of her story. And until next time, Erica, thanks so much for being on. And we'll be back with 7 more questions for another interesting person soon.